Victor, who's been on the scene since early this morning. And Victor, we were on the air together this afternoon when they revealed that number of the unaccounted for. It's truly staggering, and authorities say they've had real trouble tracking down information because this building in particular had full-time and seasonal residents.
David, that's why this has been such a challenge. This condo, it has full-time residents, seasonal residents likely in and out of town during the winter, and vacationers. Authorities have had to rely on information from neighbors and just word of mouth. Tonight, crews are hopeful that there might still be some pockets in all that rubble where they might be able to find some survivors. The crew will not stop at nightfall. We're told that the workers will simply pursue other paths. David?
Their bravery continues into the night. Victor Kendall leading us off. Victor, thank you. And you heard Victor report there on the boy pulled from the rubble shortly after the collapse. I spoke late today with a young man named Nicholas Balboa who could hear that boy under the rubble and what that boy said to him. Nicholas, thanks for joining us here. And I know that you were out walking your dog when you heard that sound, when you saw that giant plume of smoke and dust. Can you tell us what you heard and what you saw when you found?
You know, the air was displaced, so all of the air and dust and everything was moving through the corridor. So it sounded like wind and thunder and whatnot. You could feel the ground shake.
And Nick, you were actually able to see a hand waving from beneath the rubble?
I was. So the boy that was rescued this morning, myself and one other individual, we were the ones that were the first see him and to him.
And he was crying out, I understand. And what was he able to say to you? What could you hear? What did you say back to him?
He was saying, you know, can you see me? Like, you know, as he was waving his hands, he was sticking up, and he would, you know, I'm here. It's me and my mom. Of course, I couldn't see his mother, and I couldn't hear her. I hope that, you know, I pray that she's all right. So my prayers go out to him. He said he was about 10 years old. You know, he was just, don't leave me, don't leave me. So I just made sure that he could hear my voice, know that, you know, like somebody's there, and that, you know, I'm trying to get help. We're gonna get you out of there.
We are with you, Nick, in your hopes that his mother will be found and saved as well. And he asked you not to leave him, as you pointed out. You stayed there right until the first responders could to pull him from the rubble.
It took a little bit of time to get him out, but the police officer that came, he climbed up and he was able to get a good vantage point. I was in flip-flops at the time, so I couldn't climb up as high as I wanted to. But the police officer was able to make it up there, and then, you know, we were able to get fire crews to him, and they worked to get him out.
Nick, these numbers that we're now dealing with are just simply overwhelming, the number of potential people unaccounted for still. I'm curious, you saw that boy waving from the rubble. You could hear his voice. Did you hear the voices from anyone else, or were there any other signs that there could be people trapped?
The thing that really stood out to me, especially being back there, is how quiet it was. Even with emergency vehicles, you know, fire engines are loud. You know, being at the front of the building, it was extremely quiet. And he was the only person that I could hear and clearly see and get to. So I just, you know, instinctually it was just we needed to get to him. You know, we can get to him. We can save him. You know, we can get him out of here.
Well, Nick, we're just grateful that you and, of course, your dog are okay, and we're also grateful that you went and stayed with that boy until the first responders arrived. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't imagine, but, you know, I hope that they're able to give some information. I honestly hope that they find his mother. I can't imagine being that young and losing her.
We're praying too. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
We do know of roof work that was being done, but authorities are not convinced that could have led to this. So what was it? ABC's Stephanie Ramos on that part of the story tonight.
Tonight, along with the search for survivors, the other urgent question: how could this happen? What led to this horrific collapse?
It just doesn't happen. You don't see buildings falling down in America. And here we had a building literally fall down.
The governor of Florida today saying getting to the bottom of what happened is going to take time.
I know that they are going to have engineers looking at this to try to identify what happened and what was the problematic occurrence, and so that probably you're not going to have those answers immediately.
Tonight, experts are stunned by the magnitude of this collapse. No signs of a sinkhole, no signs yet of a gas explosion. And they say buildings like these have backup structures to save the building if parts of it start to crumble. And that did not happen here.
They're built with redundancy so that one or two system failures would not cause a catastrophic failure like this. So more than likely, again, it's multiple things that have contributed to this.
According to Miami-Dade property records, the Champlain Towers South was built in 1981, the 12-story building containing 136 units. Authorities saying 55 units, nearly half, were destroyed. This image showing the portion of the building that collapsed. The town of Surfside commissioner saying the towers had been scrutinized in recent years. It was up for its 40-year recertification, and that construction of a nearby building had led to some issues in the building's garage.
To my understanding, there were some cracks from that project, minor cracks, but they were just patched up. Nothing, based on my understanding.
Survived it, said it sounded like thunder, the roar of the building crumbling to the ground, the cloud of gray smoke filling the air. First responders rushing to the scene, rescuing people from the part of the building still standing. Walls ripped away, bedrooms open to the air. You could see the beds, the furniture, where moments before residents were sleeping. First responders risking their own lives, not knowing if that part of the building would collapse as well. And tonight, new images just coming in. Miami-Dade firefighters now looking for any possible survivors in the parking garage underneath the building. Their bravery going in and the uncertainty whether any more walls or ceilings could give. Families, neighbors hugging one another. So many who did survive this sheltering nearby now, some still in their pajamas. And tonight, here the before and after, the images of the building as it stood for 40 years, built in 1981. And this is what it looks like tonight. A huge part of that building simply gone. This evening, we have it all covered for you. The urgent search underway, our interview with the man who heard that boy under the rubble and what that boy said to him. And of course, the questions. How could this happen? The building just undergoing a recertification process, an inspector reportedly there as recently as yesterday. We have team coverage tonight, beginning with ABC's Victor Kendo on the scene in Florida.
Tonight, this beachfront condominium in South Florida is a disaster zone.
This whole building right here is gone, the whole back side of it.
Security camera video from an adjacent condo capturing the terrifying moment a portion of Champlain Towers collapsed in Surfside, killing at least 3. And now the urgent but delicate search for the 99 unaccounted for, some feared trapped in the pancaked remains of the complex. Firefighters first on scene, carefully maneuvering slabs of concrete, hearing a voice cry, "Don't leave me, don't leave me." Discovering this young boy, one of at least 2 people pulled from the rubble. Around 1:30 a.m., sleeping residents are jolted from bed by a loud noise, some describing it as a clap of thunder, but it wasn't a storm. The back of the building was giving way. Those inside running down to the street.
You okay, man?
It was like an earthquake.
More than 80 fire rescue vehicles racing to the scene.
I have never seen so many ambulances and police in my life all at once.
Residents seeking refuge on balconies, waving down rescue teams.
Still have people standing upstairs that don't need to be evacuated.
Fire crews raising baskets to bring them to safety. At least 35 pulled from the building.
That building is in imminent danger of collapsing, potentially, and they're up there looking for people in the building. So those guys, those are real heroes.
Search dogs brought in.
And the real heartbreak for me is that, we had the dogs out there this morning looking for people, trying to find people in the rubble. We just didn't get any hits.
Rescuers later shifting their operations to underneath the rubble.
We conducted an assessment, sonar and search cams on the top of the rubble.
The before and after striking. The condo, 12 stories tall with 136 units. The entire northeast corner of the building facing the beach, destroyed. From this vantage point along the beach, you get a much better scope of the devastation. Just look, the back half of that building, 55 units now just gone. This building, home to families, small children. These bunk beds hanging on in what remains of this bedroom. Gabe Neer and his family moved to apartment 111 just months ago.
We just ran for our lives, and there was nothing but just white, thick cloud of dust.
We met Nicholas Fernandez, desperate for word on his close friends Two fathers and their daughter staying in his family's condo. And you've tried calling them, you're trying everything, you can't get a hold of them.
Non-stop with my family, just with the, like, you know, having like at least a hope of like maybe the rescue team will hear the cell phone and they will have a clue.
Families gathering, waiting for news, holding photos of their loved ones.
My 12-year-old daughter, who's absolutely like beyond the shock, she's so close to her father.
Soraya Cohen's husband Brad and brother-in-law Gary are